This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
The facility's probably in the best shape it's ever been from the time it was built. Even when it was first opened, we've just finished renewing the entire interior of the terminal.
SRQ Airport is expanding, but will the changes have changed the mind of Suncoast citizens to fly out of Sarasota instead of other airports such as Tampa or Orlando? Good evening, I'm Haley Wilgus. Alan is off tonight. We'll have more on SRQ Airport in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. Our top story tonight, after serving less than a year in the Florida House of Representatives in Tallahassee, Alex Miller says she is resigning from her seat. The Republican is releasing a statement that says in part that as a mother of 2 teenage boys who is the CEO of a rapidly growing business, she's come to the conclusion that she must spend more time at home than her service in the legislature would allow. The news came as a surprise to her fellow Republican delegation. According to the House of Representatives website, Miller sponsored 13 bills during her short tenure. And while many did not become law, she did manage to gain enough support for a shark fin bill, which made it illegal to possess a shark's fin and created penalties for those who did not follow that law.
She was looked at already as one of these animal rights activist leaders in Tallahassee. She's definitely going to be missed. She played an important role in our communities within our delegation. And it's just overall very disappointing and sad to see somebody with her star power decide to leave early.
According to Grutter, several candidates, including James Buchanan, Congressman Vern Buchanan's son, has reportedly expressed interest in Miller's position. And Alex Miller's resignation is effective on September 1st. Governor Rick Scott will have to call a special election to fill Miller's seat for the remaining 1-year term that is left. That election date has not been announced, but whoever wins will have to run again for re-election next fall. Miller is the 4th House member to resign in just the past few months for various reasons. Manatee County followed through on its promise to move a Confederate statue less than 48 hours after commissioners finalized that decision to do so. In an attempt to avoid a potential public hazard, the statue was removed overnight as crews attempted to tighten straps to the 22-foot, 8.5-ton monument. The top of the statue, though, shifted and fell to the ground, breaking into 2 pieces. County staff says the statue was a public hazard and could have actually fallen long ago during a storm or if it was just pushed in the right way. In a meeting today, Manatee County Administrator Ed Hunsiker described what happened to county commissioners, saying crews tried to remove it respectfully. Some locals were actually surprised to hear the county chose to remove it in the first place.
It was a safety hazard before we ever started to touch it. When you think of the events of the community gathering, that would have been catastrophic if someone would have pushed or pulled in the wrong direction.
The county plans to repair the statue and through public process determine where it should be relocated. An investigation is underway after a fight between 2 men leaves one of them dead. Manatee County Sheriff's deputies say Anthony Lewis and Oriet Zuniga were staying at the Ramada Inn on Tamiami Trail while in town for work. Deputies say the 2 men got into an argument and Lewis punched Zuniga 4 or 5 times in the face. Zuniga struck Lewis once, causing Lewis to fall and hit his head on the tile floor, leaving him unconscious. Paramedics were unable to revive him. No charges have been filed at this time. Thousands of people gathered to remember 2 Florida police officers killed in the line of duty. This is from this morning's funeral procession for Kissimmee Police Sergeant Sam Howard and Officer Matthew Baxter. Authorities say the 2 were shot and killed by a suspect during a scuffle last weekend in Kissimmee. That suspect, 45-year-old Everett Glenn Miller, is charged with several counts, including first-degree murder. Kissimmee's police chief told mourners that the officers did nothing wrong in their interactions with the suspect. We finally have a winner in the Powerball. The jumbo jackpot ticket worth $758 million was sold to Mavis Wanchek of Massachusetts. And we have a winner on the Suncoast, just not quite as much. A winning Powerball ticket worth $1 million was sold at the Publix on Bee Ridge Road at the Bee Ridge Road Extension in Sarasota. Congratulations to those winners. We're just a little bit jealous. Well, today marks the 25th anniversary of Hurricane Andrew pounding Miami-Dade County. Andrew made landfall on August 24th, 1992. The hurricane had sustained winds of 165 miles per hour and caused more than $25 billion damage in Florida and left 44 people dead. It is the most destructive storm to ever hit the state. The state's top emergency management official says the storm's legacy has left Florida actually better prepared to handle future hurricanes.
It is the defining moment in the last 50 years that really marked the big change in how we deal with hurricanes.
According to the Insurance Information Institute, a similar storm today would cost twice as much as it did in 1992. And we have something brewing, a storm that is heading toward Texas. Let's check in with meteorologist Steve Newman with the First Alert forecast.
Haley, a lot of us are really concerned about Hurricane Harvey and what it could do to the Texas coast over the next 2 or 3 days, even interior parts of the state. Let's take a look at the satellite and the new visible light. You see the sun setting over the eye of the storm, which has really developed distinctly in the last 2 or 3 hours. Moving to the northwest toward Texas, and it has the potential of being a Category 3 storm. We'll look more closely at that later on in the newscast, but look at the tropical skies we have over Florida, those streams coming across, very typical of the summer months. We have a weak tropical low over top of it. It's a broad low, it's weak, but it's strong enough to boost a band of thunderstorms that went right over the Suncoast from top to bottom about 3, 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon, and it even produced a pair of funnel clouds right off of the northern end of Longboat Key and some local hail. Take a look at our forecast for tonight. We'll have scattered showers possible. I think it's going to be mainly dry with hit and miss storms, but look what happens toward dawn and your morning commute. You could have some locally wet weather right about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's already cooled off because of the rain, so we're not going to cool off much more all night long. Temperatures are going to be flat in the upper 70s for the most part, and the chance of rain, it looks like the peak right now at 50% is over, so it should be dry for the rest of the night. Again, we have a really bad situation with Hurricane Harvey. The National Hurricane Center is saying life-threatening and catastrophic flooding possible. We'll look more on that in just a few minutes. Haley?
Thank you, Steve. Still to come, SRQ Airport is expanding, but is it enough to keep citizens on the Suncoast flying out of there instead of airports nearby? We'll take a look when we come back.
Hi, I'm Jeff Benninghoff, the General Manager here at ABC7. Did you know more people get their news from local broadcasters than those big national cable outlets? In fact, the average newscast at a Raycom media station delivers nearly 8 times the audience of a national cable newscast. At ABC7, that's what our local commitment is all about. Severe weather warnings, important news and information where you live, your favorite ABC shows, and sports. We're proud to be your neighbor and serve the Suncoast community. Unfortunately, there's a danger. DirecTV system is about to drop us and break that critical link to our viewers. We're currently working hard to make sure DirecTV customers continue to have access to ABC7 without interruption, but there's a chance they will not agree to a fair deal and decide to drop the station from their system. We're committed to keeping you informed every step of the way. To find out more information and how you may be able to help, please go to ourlocalcommitment.com/WWSB. And remember, you always have choices. We are free over the air at mysuncoast.com, our free news and weather apps on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and also available through other local providers. Thank you.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
When you want to get away from it all, to a place where you can do everything, or nothing at all, surrounded by natural beauty and all the modern amenities you might desire, then you'll want to be here at the Wanna Be Inn on the beautiful shores of Manasota Key, Florida. To plan your escape, log on to wannabeinn.com. mesobook.com.
The following message is brought to you by mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
Start your day with a new Good Morning Suncoast team. Weekdays starting at 5 a.m.
When you choose to fly, do you choose SRQ or do you drive to Tampa, Orlando, or some other airport in order to save some money on airfare? Why does it often cost more to fly from the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport? ABC7's Ray Collins set out to find out why.
When Helen and Joe Burkhart fly back and forth to their home in Rochester, they often fly out of Sarasota, but not always.
We do fly out of Tampa. It's probably half and half.
The Burkharts say they're sometimes willing to drive farther to save more money.
No, just it seems like off-season we can get a pretty comparable flight. In season, it probably doubles.
But even though it seems a lot of passengers bypass Sarasota to save money elsewhere, the SRQ airport director says the airplanes are full leaving Sarasota, so airlines can afford to keep the prices high. So prices won't come down until enough passengers say, I'm not going to pay this.
Right.
CEO Rick Piccolo says, keep in mind, airlines set the prices, not airports. And there's one other misconception that frustrates him about higher prices at SRQ.
Is you constantly hear, well, if the airport would lower its landing fees and space rent, they'd have more service because they charge more than Tampa and Fort Myers. In actuality, our rents and our landing fee are anywhere from 40 to 75% less than both those airports.
Piccolo says it all comes down to numbers.
So all this is basic supply and demand economics. You have a community up in Tampa that has about 3 million people in its catchment area. We have about 1 million. You have about 1 million down in the Fort Myers area as well, but there's no other airport close to them like there is to ours. So we are basically right in the middle of all this, so we're surrounded by 5 airports. So we're in a very competitive environment.
It is competitive. In fact, look at the very different numbers for the past year. Sarasota had about 1.2 million passengers. Fort Myers had 8.5 million, and Tampa had nearly 19 million. While Sarasota was down nearly 3%, Fort Myers was up nearly 3%, and Tampa up less than 1%. Even though it is a constant challenge to compete against Tampa, Orlando, Miami, even Fort Myers and Punta Gorda, Piccolo says, make no mistake, SRQ is not in a holding pattern. And that's not all. Piccolo says he's just back from doing some speed dating. Not for himself, but for the airport to attract new airlines.
Airports from throughout the country and airlines throughout the country meet one city at a conference, and you spend a couple days there. You get appointments with different airline planners, and you get to pitch why you think they should be serving your city.
Piccolo says SRQ is doing everything from waiving operations costs for 2 years to adding up to $400,000 per airline for marketing money. He says ever since the government allowed 8 large carriers to become 4 back in 2008, now airlines that used to be losing money are making upwards of $1 billion a quarter. He says now the playing field is simply different. So now they're doing all they can to make the airport itself more pleasing for passengers.
We've just finished renewing the entire interior of the terminal. and the exterior outside of the jet bridges, which is the next phase that's going to start now. We redid the entire curbside. We're adding shade parking and shade over the rental car areas. The runways and taxiways are in excellent shape. We've expanded our business holdings. The airport's debt-free. Would we like to see more air service like the rest of the community? Yes. But I have to remind the community that if you want a Tampa International Airport level of service, then they're going to have to change their mindset because they're going to need about 2 million more people here. So they better not be protesting any developments that are going to be done, because that keeps people from coming here. I often say to people, if you want the service of a Tampa, you're going to need to be like Tampa. So you need about 2 million more people here. I don't think that's what the community wants. And so you have to understand that it's all related to the economics that drive all these things.
Passengers like Chuck and Lee understand it, and that's why they plan to use SRQ as much as they can.
It is so easy.
At the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, Ray Collins, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Ray. And Piccolo says SRQ already has 3 of the top 4 major carriers, American, Delta, and United. They're only missing Southwest. He says these 4 account for 85% of the market. And we will have our roundtable discussion right after this.
Attention Sarasota and surrounding cities. After 25 years in Sarasota, Bacon's Furniture and Design will be moving to create Southwest Florida's largest and most dynamic furniture store. We must liquidate everything in the store at huge savings as fast as possible. Do not miss this opportunity to purchase quality sofas, bedrooms, dining rooms, patio furniture, mattresses, and more. All at the absolute lowest prices possible. The Bacon's Furniture and Design relocation sell-off. Nobody beats Bacon's.
Attention blood thinner users. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. The widely prescribed blood thinners Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to a number of dangerous side effects, including internal bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney bleeding, stroke, brain hemorrhaging, and even death. If you or a loved one suffered any of these injuries after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If you or a loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-554-3987. Again, that's 1-800-554-3987.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline if you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death. You must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
Welcome back. SRQ Airport is expanding, but what does this mean for passengers? Prices are staying the same flying out of the airport because the planes are staying full. Sarasota was the only airport to decrease in passengers from 2015. Sarasota had nearly 1.2 million passengers. Fort Myers had 8.5 million, and Tampa had nearly 19 million. While Sarasota was down about 3%, Fort Myers was up about 3%, and Tampa up less than 1%. But that could also have to do with the population difference and the location of other cities compared to Sarasota. How does the expansion of the airport affect people wanting to fly into Sarasota, which can then affect the tourism in our city? And here to help us dive into all of this is Rick Piccolo, the SRQ president and CEO, and Norm Schimmel from the Tourist Development Council. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us.
Nice to be here.
And I want to reiterate, Rick, a little bit from Ray's story, which I thought was fantastic in telling us all of the reasons why. I think a lot of us wonder, why is this the way it is, but it kind of laid out all of the reasons, but sort of reiterate why we just can't magically add more flights to the airport.
Well, the airlines get to pick, since deregulation, they get to pick and choose where they go and when they go and what they charge. And given we benefit from our geography, and that the Sarasota-Bradenton area is a gorgeous area that lots of people want to come to. But the geography also hurts us because we're close to a number of other airports, major airports in Fort Myers and Tampa and even Orlando, and then secondary airports in St. Petersburg and in Punta Gorda. So it's a very competitive environment. And therefore, you take a facility like Tampa that has a much bigger catchment area and much more population. And it's, as I said in the story, it's basic economics. There's greater supply because of the demand there. And there's also a greater component of business flyers up there. Theirs is about 50-50 business versus leisure. Ours is about 30% business and 70% leisure. You know, leisure traveler is more price sensitive, but also has the ability to adjust more and shop more based on what their schedule could be more flexible. So those things the airlines realize, and they also realize that people tend to stay on one airline because of frequent flyer miles. I know people would rather fly out of SRQ when they can. They'll look at that flight and they'll see whether that schedule or the price fits their need. If it doesn't, they don't say, let me try another airline at SRQ. They go to that drop-down menu and they look at Tampa or they look at Fort Myers and they book the ticket. The airlines know that they act that way, and therefore they reinforce the very behavior that they don't like.
Which is, we see those cheaper flights out of Tampa, and we gravitate toward that, even though we have to drive up there and deal with all that hassle.
Yes, and it doesn't mean that you can't get a cheaper flight out of SRQ or that there's not competitive prices, but if there are different buckets of pricing in every aircraft, and if, let's say, 10% of the seats out of SRQ are in that lowest bucket and 10% of the seats out of Tampa, and there's 1,000 seats a day going to New York out of Tampa and 100 out of SRQ, then there's only 10 seats in that lower bucket here and 100 up there. So you might have already gone to the second, third, or fourth level bucket at SRQ because those other buckets are full, and there's still those lower buckets available in Tampa. As I said, it's basic supply and demand, and that's what drives that.
And then we have just a short left in this segment. We have much more coming up. But Norm, how does this affect our tourism numbers in Sarasota?
Well, firstly, you have a catch-22 because we really are looking to increase tourism. It's been very, very good, and Virginia Haley can tell you it's been fabulous for the last 6 years. But you also don't want to change the characteristics of Sarasota and Sarasota County. And going back to what Rick said, I don't think you want people here who, we have 365,000 in a county, who would like to have 1 million in a county. I don't think you're going to find that. And for that reason, you pay the price a little bit. But also, he hasn't touched on that yet, but you had a consolidation of airlines. And the consolidation of airlines hurt us very, very badly. Southwest especially hurt us.
Okay, so more to come on this. We're just getting warmed up, and we will be talking more about the growth at SRQ Airport and the effect on flights. But we will check in with our first alert forecast right after this.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
You studied hard, went to college, and achieved your dream, but it turned into a financial nightmare. If you have federal student loans and you'd like to reduce your payments, get more time, or have your loans completely eliminated, then we have good news. With one call to Student Loan Relief Services, you can find support and guidance. We've already helped thousands of people, and we can help you too. If you have $10,000 or more in federal student loans, you can qualify for payment extensions, payment reductions, or you may qualify to have your federal student loans loan completely forgiven. Call Student Loan Relief Services now to find out about your options. Take control of your finances and get out from under this burden. One of our student loan experts has the answers to your questions and great solutions to ease your financial burden. We're here for you. Call Student Loan Relief Services now.
Call 800-759-0203, 800-759-0203.
Our conversation about SRQ Airport continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with meteorologist Steve Newman.
Hi, Haley. We had some storms rumbling across the area about 4 o'clock today, and you can see on our Van Wezel webcam, there they are between 4 and 5. One of those storms, that line of storm that went through northern Longboat Key, produced a pair of funnel clouds that were quite impressive. We'll look more on them later on this evening. But right now, temperatures have cooled off as a result of those storms. It's only 78. That's probably as cool as it's going to get all night long, with a dew point of 76 and calm winds. Our highs and lows were pretty close to right on the money today, right across the board. Now, the radar shows we have some storms offshore. That's what's left of that area, a solid line, actually, that came from Tampa Bay all the way to Charlotte Harbor, down to Fort Myers almost, but it has moved offshore, and behind it, things are calming down. There's a chance of a hit or miss shower overnight, but I think the worst is over for us here on the Sun Coast. But not so for Texas. The sun is setting on a very powerful Hurricane Harvey. You can see the sun getting dimmer there in this GOES 16 image. These images taken every 1 minute give an incredible detail of the storm, and about 4 or 5 o'clock the eye began to form, and we can never been able to show you in such detail the formation of an eye with this new satellite. You can see the convection and around it kind of closed off, but it's going to go through several evolutions as it moves toward Texas in the next couple of days, strengthening as it goes. Right now, maximum sustained winds 85 miles an hour as it moves north-northwest to 10 miles an hour as a Category 1 storm. But by 2 in the morning, they're predicting to have 110-mile-an-hour winds as a Category 2 storm. Category 3 offshore Friday afternoon with winds of 125, taking dead aim on Corpus Christi. Not only will we get many inches of rain, we're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 20 inches of rain in some spots, but storm surge tides 5, 6, 7 feet tall. I've been looking at the storm surge prediction right on Corpus Christi, and it looks really menacing. Now, from the middle of the weekend on, it's uncertain what the storm will do other than produce a lot of rain. It could come back to the coast and move northeastward, or it could wash out. The European model seems to think it's going to move northeastward along the coast, and based on that, this is the rainfall forecast from that particular model. Up to 10 inches of rain beyond Victoria, Texas, a little inland from Corpus Christi, 22 inches. That is as of by Sunday afternoon. Then as of by Monday, the rain spreads up to the coast of Louisiana. That's based on the prediction of the storm coming back along the coast, strengthening a little bit, moving past Houston and into Louisiana late in the weekend. We're going to have a lot of rain here, too, and it's not going to look exactly like this, but you can get a picture that depending on where the rain falls, these numbers will be different. It's going to be wet right on through Saturday and Sunday, but next week, drier. Here's the RPM computer forecast showing the swirling low over us that could eventually develop into something off Jacksonville early next week. But for us, the rain will cut off, I think, by Sunday afternoon, Monday, bringing us in an extended period of drier weather. And by then, you're going to want that kind of weather pattern. Winds on the open water east in the morning to northwest in the afternoon, 5 to 15 knots. Water temperature and air temperature at the beach, 88. And here's my forecast for tonight. Evening thunderstorms are ending, the low temperature is 76, and tomorrow there will be periods of thunderstorms off and on, not only for tomorrow, but also for Saturday and Sunday as well. 70% chance of storms on Friday, 60 on Saturday. Sunday it goes down to 50, and then we move into a dry period Monday through Thursday with only a 20 to 30% chance. Haley will be back with her guest right after these words. Stay tuned.
It's Lincoln's summer sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKX Sport Utility for $349 per month, or Lincoln's flagship, the 2017 Continental, for $449 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury, winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Sun Coast since 1978. We're located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetzy. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
Welcome back. There have been some improvements and expansions made to SRQ Airport in the past couple of years, but is it enough to increase the number of passengers flying in and out of Sarasota? And how does this affect tourists who are coming to the Sun Coast instead of Tampa, Orlando, Fort Myers, other in the surrounding area? Here to help us discuss all of this is Rick Piccolo, the SRQ President and CEO, and Norm Schimmel from the Tourist Development Council. And Rick, I want to talk a little bit more about those improvements that have been made and more that are about to be made. Do you think this makes a difference for people? Maybe they fly out once, they see how nice it's been, and they want to come back.
Yeah, we look to try and make the airport as convenient and easy as possible. I think it's one of the cleanest airports in the world. And our effort is to make the airport experience as pleasant as can be. Travel is a very stressful activity nowadays. And so we try to differentiate our product to be something that's worth, if you have to pay a few dollars more, that you think you're getting a value for that and that you feel you've gotten your value. I like to tell people we're a lot like Whole Foods, and Tampa's like Publix. We don't have all the selections that they have, but we try to give you a level of quality that reflects the pricing that you're paying. Although I will stress that our parking is cheaper than at other facilities, and we always ask people to factor in the cost of going to those other facilities. Sometimes I think people lose sight of the fact that the parking is more expensive, that a tank of gas is going to be used. So if you're saving $50 or $75 on your ticket, at the end of the day, you really haven't saved much money, and you've gone through all the trouble of driving up to Tampa and back.
Now, I will say it's a lot more trouble, but I've myself have noticed if you do an off-site parking and you still factor in the gas, I mean, sometimes it's $200 more to fly out of SRQ. So what would it take to get it maybe a little bit more competitive?
Well, I think some of that goes back to what I talked about, the different buckets. So you may be comparing a lower fare at the other airport that still is in that bucket versus a higher fare at SRQ. But I think part of it is just as we build as a community and as we continue as an airport to attract more service, it'll give the public more choices. We're working very hard on getting more service, We talk to airlines all the time. We've made 3 headquarter visits just in the last 2 months. We've been on joint trips with both CVBs from both Sarasota and Bradenton on a number of times. We have great support from those 2 CVBs, and we offer, as Ray said in the story, free fees to airlines for 2 years for any new service. You can't get any cheaper than free. Pay for all the marketing. So we make every effort, but as we've said in the story too, it's a very competitive environment, and it's very hard to get an airline to add service. One daily flight, when United came in with the first Chicago flight, is about a $25 to $30 million commitment by United Airlines just for that one flight. So it shows you some of the economics are a very tough thing to work through.
Right, easier said than done. And Norm, how do we balance, as Rick had pointed out in Ray's story, we would need to grow exponentially to get these, more flight options.
We would, but first thing I was going to say, if you've never heard anybody say they had a bad experience coming into SRQ, the experience is always the gateway to paradise, if I want to use that word. A lot of you people do use that word. Yet you have some things that are happening, though. Hopefully, the negotiations with the Atlanta Braves will come to fruition, and hopefully they'll come to fruition sometime in the next 4 to 8 weeks. And I think Rick had tremendous foresight in booking how many flights from Atlanta?
We have 6 to 7 daily flights to
boy,
Atlanta, so it should make it easier for them.
That's foresight years ago, boy, to plan that out. But hopefully the Braves will be that'll be put to bed, and there you have a whole new ball game, especially in February, March, and April. And the other thing too is you may have a farm team down there that will play all summer too. So I think that adds into it. We are growing. We are growing as a community. People find out about us. People come down here for vacation, and people suddenly decide that perhaps they'd like to live here, and that's what you're seeing all around. That will play directly into the hands of the airport. But I want to go back to what I said initially, and I flew 2.4 million miles. I know everything about flying from almost both ends of it, and there's always a good experience coming into SRQ.
I do agree with that. It's one of those, it almost makes it stress-free. If for someone who hasn't traveled out of SRQ yet, how would you describe it versus traveling out of a larger airport?
Oh, if you start a vacation here, coming into that airport is the start of the vacation. You're treated so well, and it is so easy to get your bags. It's so easy to get out. It's so easy to get a car that it becomes part of the vacation. Before I moved here, I had a place in Longboat Key, and I would come down here for a couple of weeks a year, and we'd look forward to coming into the airport, and the airport was the start of the vacation.
Right. And Rick, for people who are not used to having these, maybe they have moved down here, they moved from, say, from New York, and they're used to having every flight option in the world. Have you seen people kind of express that frustration? Is that something they're concerned about?
I think the greater frustration isn't so much the pricing as it is the number of nonstop destinations, and that goes back to the size of our community. But I like to stress to people that we fly to most of the major hubs in the Northeast and the Midwest, so you can pretty much get anywhere in the world with one stop out of SRQ. And I think that's an important thing from an economic standpoint, that when we have the 3 network carriers that exist in this country, American, United, and Delta, when we say network, it means they have a network that goes worldwide with code share partners and that type of thing. I like to tell people, even Southwest does not have a code share partner, so you're not going to use your frequent flyer miles to fly to Paris on Southwest. They just don't go there. So we offer you connections to the world, and in a global economy, that's critical for the community. And the important thing is the airport actually has a nearly $1 billion a year economic impact on the community. Over 11,000 jobs are derived from our activity, with over 50 businesses and 2,000 jobs on the airport itself. And all of that is done, people don't understand, we don't have any taxing power. Our $22 million a year budget is paid for through our business operations. So we provide $1 billion worth of economic benefit to the community at absolutely no cost to the taxpayer. So I think the community gets a pretty good deal, even if we can't satisfy every need that they want. And we certainly want to satisfy their needs.
And what about marketing? You talked about marketing to airlines and negotiating with them, but what about marketing to people in our community, maybe getting the word out about the benefits of flying out of SRQ?
Well, we actually do a lot of marketing in the community. We have 3 billboards. We do newsletters. Actually, our emails go out to about 110,000 people. When you use our Wi-Fi in the terminal, it captures your email. And then we do some advertising. We do a lot of sponsorships. We're sponsored with the Orioles and with the Pirates and hopefully with the Braves when they show up. And we do a lot of advertising in the community. But it's very hard, especially as the community grows and new people come. It's a re-education process all the time.
I think the marketing should be just a picture of the security line with very few people in it, and you're like, okay, how do I sign up for a flight at this airport?
If you're in Ed Smith Stadium for a ball game, you hear all the time, why can't we get a direct flight from Baltimore, Washington area down here? And it's not as easy said and done, but it's not like people don't want the flights here. People want the flights here. People want to come into the airport. It's a beautiful airport. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Right, and then anything else that we didn't touch on, Rick, that you'd want to share with our viewers?
Well, as I said, we're working to make their experience as wonderful as possible. We're trying to be as cost effective as possible, and we're one of the few airports in this country that has no debt. And we've just finished remodeling the entire terminal at a cost of about $23 million. So I like to tell people it's like getting a new house with no mortgage. So that at least the local community can have faith in the fact that they have a wonderful facility, they have no financial stake in it, and they don't have to worry about it becoming a burden on the taxpayer. And as the community grows, the airport is ready for that growth. We can handle about 50% more capacity without any need to expand more or borrow money. So we really are in good financial shape that way. And while Tampa's a wonderful airport, a very big airport, their debt load right now is about $1.1 billion. So we do have some advantages.
Yes, okay. We have our final thoughts when we return. We'll be right back.
When I was growing up, my mom told us, always treat others the way you want to be treated. She did business with companies that shared her values, like Mutual of Omaha. She had a guaranteed whole life insurance policy through United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, a Mutual of Omaha company. When my mother passed away, her United of Omaha policy helped cover her funeral expenses and bills, and they had money on its way to us within 24 hours.
United of Omaha is here to take care of you. When you call the number on your screen, we'll help find the right policy for you. If you're between 45 and 85, you can get coverage up to $25,000 with no medical exam. Call us right now at the number on your screen.
Now I know I'll be taking care of my family, even after I'm gone.
United of Omaha Guaranteed Whole Life Insurance. Call or go online now. Be there for their future.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251, 800-628-1251.
Watch your Suncoast News at 6 on your streaming device for a chance to win a $50 Visa. It's easy. Just watch weekdays at 6 for the word of the week. Then enter the word at mysuncoast.com for your shot at a $50 Visa. We'll pick the winner each week. Good luck. ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
Welcome back. Our guests are now joining us with their final thoughts. And Rick, I want to start with you tell us a little bit more about the next round of improvements that are being made at the airport.
Sure. We just started a $12 million new jet bridge project that'll put 13 new jet bridges around the airport's gates for the next year it'll take to complete that project. We should open some covered parking in about a month, and then the rent-a-car area is going to also get covered. And then in May, we hope to open the new air traffic control tower, which is a $27 million project. And again, I stress that all these projects done without incurring any debt and without being a burden on the taxpayer. So we're real proud of our continuous improvement program, we're going to continue to try and make everyone's experience wonderful.
And not just at the airport, you're all, like you mentioned before, you're across the country all the time talking with airlines, constantly trying to bring new flights in. So it's not like you guys aren't working extremely hard on trying to do this.
That's our number one goal, and the thing we work the most on is trying to get more air service. And we'll continue to do that while improving the facility at the same time.
Great. And Norm, just last thoughts for you on our airport here.
We try and make his life easier because the more promotion we have, whether it's the World Rowing Championships, whether it's the arts, and whether it's the sciences that we have here, the more that we create as far as tourism is concerned, the easier his job is. And that's what we continue to try and do.
And I assume that with the World Rowing Championships in a month, we'll start to see a lot more traffic coming through SRQ. Well, last night we spoke about the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight happening on Saturday night. McGregor, a mixed martial artist who fights in the UFC, is making his professional boxing debut against the 49-0 Mayweather. The fight will take place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. McGregor is a 4-1 underdog. Not so bad for a guy without a professional boxing fight under him. Well, we had a panel of experts last night, and 3 out of the 4, and 1 was kind of wavering, did pick Mayweather to win. We went to Facebook to ask you what you thought about this upcoming fight. Nate kicks off our comments by saying, there's a chance of a flash KO from McGregor just because of his skills, but in reality, he's going into a ring with someone who's never lost against boxers. Ross adds, what a farce. It's a disgrace to both fighting styles. And James closes out the comments by saying there's only one possible outcome. They both get rich. That is true. If you would like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/news@7. And you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And a big thank you to our guest tonight, Rick Piccolo, the SRQ President and CEO, and Norm Schimmel from the Tourist Development Council. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Great conversation. And when we return, we'll have a final look at your First Alert weather. Plus, a gunman holds people in a restaurant hostage. We will have all the details when we return.
When you want to get away from it all, to a place where you can do everything, or nothing at all, surrounded by natural beauty and all the modern amenities you might desire, then you'll want to be here at the Wanna Be Inn on the beautiful shores of Manasota Key, Florida. To plan your escape, log on to wannabein.com.
This is important news for women who were administered chemotherapy intravenously for breast cancer and then suffered permanent hair loss. Some women administered the breast cancer chemotherapy drug Taxotere have suffered from permanent hair loss on scalp, eyebrows, and eyelashes. If you suffered permanent hair loss after chemotherapy for breast cancer, call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now to find out if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Call to see if you qualify to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan right now. At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and coinsurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book and DVD. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. Call 1-800-558-8779.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in just a moment, but right now we're going to get a final check on our First Alert forecast from meteorologist Steve Newman.
Hey, Lee, just before 5 o'clock, we had a pair of funnel clouds, waterspouts off of Anna Maria Island, Bradenton Beach, and down in northern part of Longboat Key. I thought that this Anna Maria webcam might have captured it just before 5 o'clock, but it didn't. By the way, on our 11 o'clock newscast, we'll give you some movies that were sent in to us, absolutely incredible swirling storms. But the storms are now off into the Gulf of Mexico, and it should remain relatively quiet over the Sun Coast for the rest of tonight. It is cool behind those storms too. 78 the temperature, dew point 76. That's about as cool as it's going to get tonight. And across the state, temperatures 82 at Tampa, 80 at Naples, where they didn't get rain, cooling. Gainesville 87, and the same at Tallahassee. Across our viewing area, pretty much uniformly upper 70s to near 80 because the rain was so widespread and the outflow boundaries from those storms so widespread as well. We can see it on radar. There's a broad area of low pressure covering Florida that will eventually meander into the Atlantic and could become a weak system out there, but it has been producing off and on storms throughout the state. One band that formed in the middle of Florida moved offshore about 4 or 5. That's what caused the waterspouts up there in the north. And it's all dissipating at this hour, and we should remain relatively dry overnight except for a hit and miss storm. The sun is setting on Hurricane Harvey, as you can see in this visible light satellite image. We go closer, you can see an eye beginning to form about 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. It is already a Category 1 hurricane. It could be Category 2 in the middle of the night. And if we look in infrared light, you can see that the eye wrapping around there, taking dead aim on the Corpus Christi area. Right now, the maximum sustained winds are at 5 o'clock. They were at 85 miles an hour. They could be stronger already because by 2 in the morning, they're predicting 110-mile-an-hour winds. That was a Category 2 storm, and by tomorrow afternoon to 125-mile-an-hour winds. Category 3, not only offshore, but as it strikes Corpus Christi. This is the official forecast. We'll update that tonight at 11. Winds 120 miles an hour. Then the forecast gets a little murky. Will the storm wash out over the Texas Hill Country, just drenching it there, or meander back to the coast, gain a little strength from the water, and skirt the coast going into Louisiana? Many are thinking the latter will be the case. And based on that, here is the GFS, the American model, showing the wind and central pressure of the system moving right into Padre Island with the biggest storm surge right about over Corpus Christi as we move into the early morning hours on Saturday. All our prayers are going out for people there, not only for storm surge and Category 3 winds, but just incredible amounts of rain. By late Sunday, over a foot-inch of rain at Victoria, 9 inches at Corpus Christi, even Houston 14. I'm sure these numbers will change as the forecast changes right on for the next couple of days. Well, our forecast with that low wrapping around shows scattered showers and storms right on through today, tonight, tomorrow, and into Saturday, easing up on Sunday, and then we'll enter a period of much drier conditions in the early part of next week. Here's our forecast for the water. It should be a little choppy, moderate chop on bay and inland waters. And our 7-day outlook shows a pretty good chance for the next couple of days. 70% tomorrow, 60% on Saturday, down to 50% at the end of the weekend. Then we dry out. I think you're going to like a break in the rain once it eventually gets here. Haley will be back with primetime headlines right after these words.
Join the fun at the Weddings of Sarasota 17th Annual Wedding Show at the iconic Sarasota Municipal Auditorium on US 41. Sunday, August 27th from noon to 4. Enjoy food, fun, and entertainment with a runway show on stage at 3 p.m. $2,000 in Weddings of Sarasota dollars given out after the runway show. You must be present to win. Pre-register at weddingsofsarasota.com. Brides and grooms are free if registered by midnight on August 25th. Weddings of Sarasota. Register today.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-8638. That's 1-800-916-8638.
Every week on Animal Outtakes, it's a new adventure. From meeting curious lemurs to feeding big cats and hosing down rhinos, there's never a dull moment. And sometimes these amazing animals chime in. Tune in to Animal Outtakes to find out what they have to say. Watch Animal Outtakes every week on ABC7.
You might feel like there's too many problems in the world, or that, you as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old can't really make a difference.
It's not always about you. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team.
Just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
Now checking in on our primetime headlines, a tense afternoon in Charleston, South Carolina. A fired dishwasher shot and killed a chef at the restaurant where he had worked and then held some hostages there. ABC's Scott Goldberg reports.
An active shooter and hostage situation in Charleston, South Carolina is now over.
The assailant has been shot and has been taken to a local hospital. He's in critical condition.
Officials say a disgruntled former employee walked into the kitchen of Virginia's restaurant located on Charleston's downtown King Street and shot an employee who later died in a hospital. The shooter then walked out into the dining room full of people eating their lunch.
Locked the door and put a gun in my belly and told me to get on the floor, which I did. And then he told everybody in the restaurant to get on the floor and crawl out.
About 30 diners crawled on all fours toward two exit doors in the back of the restaurants. Police reported that a couple of hostages were being held by the gunman, but later they stormed the building.
6th floor balcony.
Our hostages have been rescued safe. This was not a terrorist act. This was not a hate crime. This was a case, a tragic case of a disgruntled individual, I think with a history of some mental health challenges.
Scott Goldberg, ABC News, New York.
Search and rescue operations for U.S. sailors missing in waters off of Singapore have now been suspended. The remains of one sailor have been identified. 9 others are still missing. The search will continue in the flooded compartments of the USS John S. McCain. The McCain collided with an oil tanker Monday east of the Malacca Strait. It's the 4th time a U.S. warship has been involved in an accident in Asian waters this year. We'll soon learn more about President Trump's proposed transgender military ban. The Wall Street Journal reports the White House will send guidance to the Pentagon on the ban in the coming days. U.S. officials tell the newspaper Trump wants the military to stop admitting transgender people, and for current troops, the Pentagon should consider a service member's ability to deploy before deciding whether to expel them. Trump announced on Twitter last month that he would reinstate a ban on transgender troops. The White House has not commented on this report. The organizer of a violent Charlottesville rally has been denied bond. Chris Cantwell turned himself in after University of Virginia police issued a warrant for his arrest. The charges are linked to his role in the white supremacist rally almost 2 weeks ago. On August 11th, Cantwell and others gathered on the UVA campus to protest the removal of a Confederate statue. Cantwell, the group's leader, is accused of illegally using tear gas in connection to this rally, and he's charged with causing bodily injury with malicious intent. That's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Haley Wilgus. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you right back here at 11. Have a great night.